Moving on, Diptyka Laurent joins us on set to have a spin through the international papers this morning. Good morning again to you,
Hi,
Diptyka.
Tom.
And you're starting with a big story coming out of South Africa.
It's called Gupta Gate, that's what they've dubbed it anyway, and it's a political corruption scandal involving an influential and rich Indian South African family and the president of South Africa, Jacob Zuma. Now, the South African deputy finance minister, who's on the right of the Herald front page this morning, revealed on Wednesday that it's actually the Herald. He revealed on Wednesday that the Guptas had offered him a ministerial post back in December. Now, Zuma is fighting back. He's under fire. He's fighting back. That's what the Herald's saying. He's fighting back against these damning allegations. And he defended himself in front of angry parliamentarians on Thursday, denying that the Guptas played any hand and reminding MPs that he and only he can appoint ministers.
Well, the Mail and Guardian, another South African newspaper, are focusing on the fact that these allegations are actually new.
That's right, Thomas. In fact, the front page of the Mail and Guardian deals with it. They call it the battle lines are drawn, Zuptas, which is a really neat contraction of Zuma and Guptas, I guess in the same vein as Brangelina and all the other celebrities. They are fighting essentially against the rest of South Africa, and these allegations of so-called being in bed with the Guptas is not new. But it does seem to be one scandal too many for the embattled South African president, who's already facing a lot of economic problems. And what I like about this front page is the Mail and Guardian, instead of going with the traditional photos that we've been seeing on the other newspapers, they've gone on, they've published this great cartoon. You see members of the Gupta family there literally shopping online for government ministers. And there's a little dog sitting on one of the men's lap, essentially a lap dog that's meant to represent Zuma. So really, the scandals expose this sort of nepotism between the Zuptas, if you like. The Guptas are actually in business with Zuma's son. And the Guptas were also allowed to use a military airbase a few years ago to fly in wedding guests. So there you go.
And staying with the Mail and Guardian, the paper's saying the political headache looks set to continue for Zuma.
It's also in the Mail and Guardian. That's the article there. Another MP is set to reveal that she was offered a ministerial position while Zuma was in the Gupta's house. And she says she has proof of this and that she'll be revealing it, quote, in good time. The newspaper has also revealed that there are at least 4 other ministers who have been offered ministerial positions and refused them from the Gupta family.
Of course, all this news has obviously led to calls for Zuma to resign.
He's, as I said before, he's embattled. He's facing a lot of other problems, notably the economy of South Africa. And this seems just to be the one scandal too many. This is a very strong opinion piece from Rudzani Floyd Musekwa. He says Zuma is a puppet president for the Guptas. And how can the ANC party, the party that Nelson Mandela himself ran, allow itself to become such a national laughingstock? That's what the writer is asking in this opinion piece. And he hails those who've come out to hold Zuma accountable, urging MPs to, quote, reclaim the country back from the mafia, or what he calls the mafia.
Okay, that's clearly a story to follow there in South Africa. Let's move on to 2 articles you found reacting to that announcement that Syrian Kurds have established a federal state in the north of Syria.
2 articles, 2 very different perspectives. Let's start with Asafir, a Lebanese daily. They've hailed the efforts of the Syrian Kurds to establish their autonomy, calling it a, quote, big adventure on a political and military scale. The newspaper says that the Kurds have tried to impose themselves in the equation at such a crucial point in the Syrian crisis, and they really welcome this. Now, on the flip side, the Turkish newspaper, the Hurriyet Daily, is far more skeptical, saying that while the Kurdistan Democratic Party have a, quote, valid point in their concerns about being a people without a state, they say that yet another Kurdish state could fracture even further the very fragile Middle Eastern borders that exist today, especially in light of the ongoing Syrian crisis.
Okay, and finally, you've made my day. I knew all along that Bert and Homer were always right. The Simpsons apparently predicted Donald Trump's presidential victory back in 2000.
If you're a fan of The Simpsons, you might remember this episode. It was in the year 2000. It's called Bart to the Future. And basically, Bart gets a very dark glimpse into his future. So the year is 2000. The episode takes place in 2030. He turns out to be a beer-chugging bum. I guess, as we all expected. His sister, on the other hand, Lisa, ends up being the first female president of the United States. And who does she succeed? Donald Trump. And she's left to pick up the pieces of a terrible presidency where the country is nearly broke. And the problems she faces as a leader are beyond fixing. The writer of the episode says the show always embraced that sort of over-the-top part of the American culture, and Trump is really a symbol of that. The scariest part is, if Trump becomes president this year, it will be a whole 14 years before that actual episode. So something to think about.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Atika, for that spin through the international press this morning.